Ladies and gentlemen, there's a Malay saying that goes bagai sirih pulang ke gagang that truly describes how we feel about our guest of honor, Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad. No stranger to KYUEM, Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi did his A-levels here from the year 2000 until 2002, holding a scholarship from Permodalan Nasional Berhad, PNB. We were informed by some of his teachers who are still here that Yang Berhormat showed great leadership even back then and was well liked, so much so that he was elected as the president of the Student Council. Upon completing his A-levels, Yang Berhormat went to King's College London to read law. We are very proud that for the very first time in the history of KYUEM, to have an alumnus as our guest of honor for our annual Awards Day ceremony. Without further delay and with great pleasure, I now invite our guest of honor, Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad, to deliver his speech and launch today's award ceremony.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat pagi, a very good morning. Yang berbahagia Datuk Nur Azman Abdul Aziz, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Yayasan UEM. Yang berusaha Dr. Nik Ismail Nik Daud, Chairman of the Board of Governors of KYUEM. Datuk Muhammad Izani Ghani, MD of UEM Group and member of Yayasan UEM Board of Trustees. Board members of UEM Group, Board of Trustees of Yayasan UEM and Board of Governors of KYUEM. Yang berusaha Puan Aisyah Noor, CEO of Yayasan UEM. Puan Mazyu Sharina Muhammad Yusof, Chief Executive Officer of KYUEM. Mr. David Vroeg, Principal of KYUEM. Mr. Vroeg was here since I was a student. I did not do biology, nor did I take up kickboxing, so I did not directly study under Mr. Vroeg. To the leadership team, teachers, parents, sponsors, and most importantly, the class of 2024. It is a great pleasure for me to be back here. I think one of the best honors that one can get in life is to be able to come back and speak at one's alma mater. And I'm grateful to be here today. Yep, so just as I was saying, it was right here in this very hall in 2002 that I spoke as Student Council President during my batch awards day. Can't remember what I spoke about. So it's great to be back and to be able to see all of you here. I've been very fortunate in life that I have three very strong cliquish networks. One is that I'm Kelantanese. Two is that I went to MCKK. And three is that I went to KYUEM. So it's like winning the lottery and being able to access to a huge pool of people who, you know, they tend to help one another and they are everywhere in what's happening across life, not just in Malaysia but beyond. When I first came here, the college, I was the third batch, so it was very new. But I think Lembah Beringin did not grow very much compared to then. And I think we were obviously excited. I think as most of you, when I received the prospectus, obviously getting the scholarship, looking forward to studying abroad, and we were very impatient, right? We were like, you know, I left boarding school. I said, you know, we can't wait to go to the UK to study. But it turned out to be one of the best 2 years of my life, the 2 years spent. Right? And I can say that when I spoke at this very stage in 2002, I was quite sad to leave the college because I truly enjoyed what I did here. For whatever reason, we were one of the favorites. I was in Garnet House, and we were one of the favorites to win the Bangsawan, right? So I think, but we did not win a single award. And I think the actors and actresses who played in the Bangsawan, I was the director, they were very unhappy because I was so confident that we would win, and I did not do a good job. And as I mentioned, it was here that I got the confidence of actually being more active. I ran for student council president. No, I was not universally loved by teachers, as mentioned just now. I won very narrowly in the student council elections at that year. But yeah, that gave me a lot of confidence, and it also allowed me to see things in a different light. Because before that, I was an armchair critic, but here, I was involved or active, but not at the forefront, and this gave me a different perspective. It was also here, which at that time my sponsors did not realize, I was actively writing for Reformasi websites. I became very active when I went to the UK, and doing all those things. So like it was said that it's not just the academic side of things, but also the whole idea of a holistic education. And I think that's the value of a 2-year A-levels, right? I mean, that's what, I think in Malaysia it's seen as a weird thing, because many colleges are offering very short courses when it comes to A-levels. But the whole idea is very much tied into a much more traditional British education of having a 2-year pre-university course. And it's not too long. If you actually take up the philosophy of A-levels, of being active, I wasn't that great in sports, but doing everything in Bangsawan, I was in Duke of Edinburgh, and all those stuff, then 2 years is just nice, actually, to have a very good and holistic A-levels course. And I immediately served as the alumni president after I left the college from 2003 and 2005. And until today, as I mentioned, I continue, even interns. I have interns, I have staff members, I've hired people who came from KYUEM, because I know that when there's a certain level of education that you go through KYUEM, that gives me the confidence. It may be someone that I do not know much, not from my time, but the moment I know that you went to the verdant uplands, that it gives me confidence that you are good enough to do a lot of things. And so I'm forever grateful to the teachers, to my friends, and to everyone, who was, and some of you are here today, who helped me when I was here in the college and nurtured to make me the man who I am today. And I think that this continues until today, because we see the great results that KYUEM has achieved all these years. So to all of you who have won awards today, congratulations. I congratulate your families, your friends who are here, and I pray that this is not the only time that you will be bringing joy to their lives. Life ahead is uncertain, but as mentioned by Mr. Vrook just now, if you can take it, with a great passion, with great enthusiasm, and at the same time a great sense of humility, then I'm sure you'll be able to face whatever comes before you. Because indeed, the world that you're going through is an uncertain one. We see the geopolitical tensions. We had COVID a few years ago. We've seen the disruptions to the supply chain, to the food supply, energy security, but also actual conflict. I like what was mentioned by Mr. Vrook to put things in perspective, right? What is stress, what is hardship? When we have people in Gaza who are struggling just to get food for their family, the stress and hardship that we go through pales in comparison. We see institutions of higher learning today. I was in New York in a few months back, and I was supposed to meet with the students of Columbia, Malaysian students. A few of them are doing courses related to environment and climate change and energy. Some of them were from KYUEM, but I had to meet them outside because I could not go into the campus because of the problems that's happening there. But there's also other things, identity politics, artificial intelligence, that's revolutionizing our economy, culture, and communications, but it's also giving rise to a pandemic of disinformation and creating problems with regards to social polarization. And of course, my main job, dealing with the triple planetary crisis of biodiversity loss, climate change, as well as pollution. And these challenges, they do not look at our race, they do not look at our religion, they do not look at our nationality. We look at the heat waves. Last year, 2 people, as far as we know, died from heat waves in Malaysia. This year we had 3. And I'm sure there are other cases which were not detected properly. But we also see the storms, right? And imagine if we lose all this. I mean, you're so lucky to be in Lembah Beringin. It's so easy to go to the nice places in Hulu Selangor, in Tanjung Malim, and to access all these places. But if we do not have all this, not only will be the world will be grayer and darker and worse off, but we will be having worse floods. We will not be getting enough clean water and face a host of problems. So I've seen the concern and anxiety of the younger Malaysians with regards to climate change. But your hearts and minds are also the battlegrounds that are being fought for online and elsewhere by the twin forces of climate denial and doomism. Doomism meaning that you accept climate change, but you think that it's too bad that nothing can be done. Let's just enjoy life as it is. Probably 2050, 2060 is long time. Then, we do not need to do anything. But neither of this is the right response to the challenges ahead, because it does not offer a path to an inclusive future. Contrary to what some people say, 1, climate change is real, and 2, we have it within our agency to do something about it. The world has acted before. During my time, we had the ozone layer crisis, right? Now, because of how the world acted, the ozone layer is repairing itself. We had the problem with lead in our fuel. It causes problems in terms of reduction in IQ, in terms of higher crime rates, and so on and so forth. The world acted. In 2021, Algeria became the last country to ban leaded fuels in their country. But I understand, having said that the climate crisis is a way bigger problem than what was faced before. We are trying to do something, obviously. Day and night, my civil servants are working hard to come up with the Climate Change Act as well as a National Adaptation Plan. We have come up with plans like the NETR to transform our energy. And also, but most importantly, we believe that by being ambitious in terms of our climate goals, we want to save the planet, yes, but we also think that this will be the new engine of growth for Malaysia. That's how we are looking at it. So recently, I'm not sure many of you realize it or not, a few years ago, the government announced that we want to be net zero as early as 2050. But the word is as early as. So it's like when your mom, you have your parents here asking you, when are you going to get married? And you answer, as early as I'm 30. Right? That's actually you're not saying much because you can be 30, 40, or 50 and still single. And you're not, lying to your mom. But we have actually recently decided that we want to give a firm date. Initially, there were suggestions that we should give it a further date because it needs a lot of work to be net zero for a country, a developing country like Malaysia. But we decided we want to stick with 2050 because here, Malaysia will be a beacon for the region. We will be able to attract all the new investments that are calling for more sustainable growth, and we can create the green jobs that we want to offer to you when you come out of universities and look for a job. So we are trying to change this challenge that we face into an opportunity. In the past, we've done that before. One of the things that Malaysia has done right, and that's in the engine of our growth for so long, is that we've invested a lot in education. But that's not enough, right? Because now we have all these challenges, these existential challenges ahead, and we need to look at how we can make this sustainable growth to be a beacon to grow our economy. And it is not a problem of science, right, to solve this problem. We always think that it's a problem of science or economics, that, the economics does not work to make it green. The science is not there to solve the problems of the planetary crisis. It's not true. It is, at its fundamental, a moral and ethical problem. There's an American environmentalist. He used to work in the SDG office in the UN, Gus Path, who said that he used to think that the planetary problem is a problem of climate change, it's a problem of biodiversity loss. But after 30 years of working in the field, he realized that it's a problem of selfishness and apathy. And it is only through a spiritual and moral change that we can solve this problem. Right? Because science is agnostic. Nuclear bombs are created by science, but nuclear energy that can give us a lot of electricity without emissions is also a creature of science. So that's why I hope that you are going to be studying in the best universities in the world. Enjoy that. Trust me, when you work, when I was at your time, as I said, I was looking forward to go abroad, right? But the moment I left and I was in the UK, I couldn't wait to work. I said, my scholarship money or allowance is always not sufficient. Can't wait to get my own money. But then the moment now, if you're at my age, we are starting to reminisce the time that we were back in universities, right? So there is no perfect, quote-unquote, moment. What you need to do is to enjoy, to seize the day, but be able to grasp about how you want to move forward, because we can't turn back in our lives. So, class of 2024, I will just leave you with 5 short points on what you need to consider before moving forward. First is never stop wanting to learn. The world is changing very fast. When I was here, we were just starting to have websites. I knew a bit of HTML and I was, the greatest guy when it comes to having a website. But now things are very different. I used to be very smart with my Twitter and, 140 characters or 280 characters. But now you have to dance and sing on TikTok. Second, you should always be principled. You should always hold on to your ideals, but you should also learn to grow. Right? I mean, when I was at your age, I held on to certain principles, which I believe I hold on until today. But the way we approach things, because we understand that there's compromise, there's a different perspective and whatnot, there has to be that understanding. Because if you do not grow, if you do not have any sense of flexibility, then you will not be able to get things done. Thirdly, question everything, especially the ideas and things that make you feel comfortable. I think that is a challenge where we tend to get very comforted, especially today with social media, when whatever you get on your screen tends to be just reaffirming what you think or what your friends think, as opposed to listening from the other side. If you're from KL, you have friends here from Kelantan, from Sabah, from Sarawak. Challenge yourself. Don't just, partly because I'm Kelantanese, right? My parents are Kelantanese, rather. That, some people just think, why are people from the kampung like this and like that, without understanding the real issue. So you have to challenge yourself, try to listen to the other view. Fourth, never lose hope. The world is a scary place, as I mentioned. But there's still great beauty in the world, in our own country, and that are worth defending. There's so many, as much as you read about the stories of doom and gloom, amidst those stories you can find a lot of great stories of hope, of people even in the worst possible situations who do not lose hope and continue to move forward and be hopeful about the world. And I think that's the only way you can live life. Because if you lose hope, then there's no point to everything. And last but not least, always be humble enough to remember when you achieve you win your awards today, when you go to the greatest universities, you get to the best jobs out there later on, when you're a billionaire. Don't forget KYUEM when you're a billionaire. But when you're achieving all that, please remember that you are part of a whole social structure. It's never about you. Steve Jobs never got to where he was merely because it was him alone. But there were certain things in his social circles, in his environment, the social capital that he could draw on. So for you, it's being part of KYUEM, that's one of the social capitals that are able to push you across the line. So I think if you have that humility, then you'll also be able to remember to pay it back and to pay it forward. In conclusion, the most important thing is leadership. It's not about dominating others. But to me, the way I see leadership is about being of service to, as well as be a comfort and inspiration to those around you. What motivated me to go into public service was that I had always been fortunate in my life. I come from a middle-class family. I had the best education, including in KYUEM. And I felt that I owe it back to society to do something. So that was how I looked at things. Similarly, I'm not asking you to be a politician. I'm asking you to be the best in what you want to do. Whether you want to be a scientist, an engineer, or a corporate leader, an NGO activist, be the best in what you want to do, and it's about service to society. Every generation, simply because of the time and tide, will be called to lead. My generation was the Reformasi generation. Yours will be called to one day. You will all be called to greatness, and you must not falter. So, once again, I congratulate all the award winners today, and I thank KYUEM for remembering me and inviting me back to our great hall. It looks much nicer and posher now than what it was way back, but then that's a long time ago. So, class of 2024, you have reached a new waypoint in your journey in life. Our country too is on one, and I believe both, while there will be twists and turns, you are ultimately on the right path. I look forward to seeing what you will accomplish in life, and I know it will be higher, greater things. All the best to you all, and keep moving forward. Thank you very much.